Girl Gemini Jazz with House of Chiron, and we are back with another episode of Galactic Gossip. And so we are now in the final month of 2022, and we are soon going to be embarking on 2023. All right, so right at the start of December, we have Neptune stationing direct. Neptune is, excuse me, one of our outer planets. So that means that it has a more significant effect on the generations rather than individual kind of circumstances. But nonetheless, we will still feel the change that happens once it stations direct. Neptune is the planet of inspiration and spirituality. So to have this planet no longer in backward motion and retrograde, basically is giving us that feeling where we can take action on something that we've been dreaming about, our visions, or kind of wanting to put some things into play, creating the reality. So also keep in mind, that we shouldn't be surprised if this brings in a lack of clarity initially once it first stations to go direct, because there's something else that Neptune governs, which is illusions and deceit, gives that foggy energy. Also Mercury, which is our planet of communication, and also Venus, the planet of love and pleasure, will be squaring Neptune at the same time. So we may feel inspired to do something, but might not be so clear on how to pursue it, initiate it, or exactly what that is that we're trying to create. All right, now before we get into this, just want to say, if you are new to my channel, welcome in. This is how we do things. But if you want to stay updated on all the astro news and the galactic gossip, go ahead and hit that subscribe button so you will not miss a beat. I am Gemini Jazz. Jasmine is my government name, but they call me Gemini Jazz, and I am here to help people uncover their purpose, build mental wellness by understanding their patterns and their cycles with astrology and psychology. I am also a Reiki master, so I assist you in removing blockages and imbalances within your energy, and I do so with energy healing. I also do these Galactic Gossip monthly forecasts for all 12 signs, as well as any quick updates throughout the month. So you can always tune in here and find something that's going on within that week. I also share personal insight and topics surrounding mental health, chakra balancing, and astrology. All right, so before we get into the rest of the forecast for the month of December, I do have a few quick announcements, and they're really big ones. First, Chiron candles are still on hold. They will not launch until 2023, or reopen because they've already launched, but they will not be back out for sale until 2023. And I will make that formal announcement when those are ready. And if you are unfamiliar about the Chiron candles, they are Reiki infused candles. They have a wooden wick. They are coconut soy wax. They are adorned with Reiki charms. They have the appropriate crystals and stones. So there are a total of 7 different Chiron candles for each chakra. And so they also help you with whatever imbalances or blockages that you may have or that you're experiencing within your chakras at that time also. So that's just a little background on those, but they will be coming back up for sale in 2023, and I'll make that announcement. Also, my Reiki session book is open, so you can go ahead and hit the description box for any of the things that I'm talking about to book a Reiki session. Check out when the candles are ready. And also I have the Celestial City membership. That is a membership for $33 per month, where we meet twice a month to do one Reiki session. It's a group Reiki within our own individual community. Also, we do a new moon intention setting ceremony at every new moon or around that time. Also, they get discounts on all services, and this will be the only place moving forward that you can get readings, personal readings, because this is the big announcement, I am closing my personal astrology reading. So December will be the last month that I offer astrology readings. So if you have always wanted to get a reading by me, whether it's your natal chart, your lunar, or your solar return, any of those, this will be the very last month that you can get them done. So Basically the reason behind me closing out the readings is because I have a lot going on. Number one, I have a lot going on. So starting school for my graduate program to become a therapist, that is my goal, that is my passion, that is my purpose. So I'm starting that very soon, and I need to kind of alleviate some things off of my plate. Also, I am working on creating a excuse me, Reiki certification excuse me, a Reiki certification, so that way I can certify as many Reiki practitioners as I possibly can. And I need more time to focus on creating that system and whatnot. Also, I am working on creating a astrology for beginners course, and I'm working on doing many other webinars and different, courses and whatnot. So I just need more time to focus on these other things, these passion projects. And I have to take a few things off of my plate, and the astrology readings are one of them. Okay, so sad to say, but yes, I have to let them go. Also, I have let's see, is that the only announcement? I think so. Yeah, but just to wrap it up, the only place that you'll be able to get somewhat of a personal reading will be in the membership. So if you want to purchase a reading, so this is what I'm doing for the month of December. If you purchase a reading starting on December 1st, all the way through to the end of December, okay, then you get 30 days free in the membership, just to try it out, to test it out, see how it works. And if it's something that you enjoy, which I'm sure you will, then you will stay. But if not, then you have had a wonderful experience with a like-minded community to connect with and all that good stuff. So that's what I'm offering for the month of December, because I will be closing them out, but you also get a chance to try the Celestial City membership. Okay, so I mean, it's like you get a really great deal. You buy a reading and you get like something for free. It's perfect for Christmas time. Also, if you are looking for Christmas gifts, I have virtual gift cards on my website. So if you are wanting to purchase a reading for a loved one for Christmas, and you can go to my website and do that as well. All of that information will be in the description box below, so you can mosey on your way down there, of course, after you're done listening to the astrology forecast, and then book your readings and buy your things for your people. All right, so now let's move on into this month's energy. All right, so previously I was just talking about how Mercury and Venus will be squaring Neptune at the time that it stations to go direct. And Mercury is the planet of our mind and intellect. So this sign is also quickly moving into Capricorn after it squares with Neptune. So Mercury in Capricorn, the sign that is most stereotypically associated with being a workaholic, right? But it also is about being grounded, being practical, having things manifest tangibly, right? It brings about that energy of being straightforward and determined with our plans and our ideas. And that's what this is going to bring with this Mercury in the sign of Capricorn. Now, energetically, we should follow through with what we set out to achieve. That's what's going to assist us with doing, right, with this energy. And the energy is also providing us that mental fortitude to make things happen, to create things, to make things tangible, right? So Venus is going to follow Mercury a few days later. So this year's cuffing season, right, has come with the cosmic potential to last well into 2023, right? And because Venus is moving into Capricorn. Capricorn is about longevity. Venus in Capricorn is that sign that typically marries up, is what I like to say. They marry rich or wealthy, or they develop a great amount of wealth for themselves. But it's all about longevity. It's that legacy. It's that generational wealth and whatnot. So really great placement and whatnot. But also Venus being in Capricorn while Mercury is there during this time of year, especially when it's a holiday season. So, it's about, the practical approach to gift giving as well. All right. Now on December 7th, we have the Gemini full moon. And this is the last full moon of 2022. So, and being in the sign of the social butterfly, me, It indicates the perfect time to really, you know, go to those holiday parties, light up that dance floor, create that gathering. So it's really a great time to kind of set the plans for that and connect with your people. The fully illuminated moon will add a bit of hope to our social calendars and stuff. You know, we probably are just trying to get back into the swing of things when it comes to socializing and whatnot. But also towards the end of the month, Jupiter is going to go back into Aries, right? That take no shit ram energy of Aries. And so this is perfect fuel for the upcoming winter solstice to visualize and see how independence fits into our New Year's resolution, and also to take calculated risk and initiate things with confidence, moving on into the new year. So it's a wonderful time to set those intentions on the winter solstice, but we'll dive into that. All right, so December is a really big month in the stars. You know, like I said, the winter solstice and Capricorn season begins, and that is on December 21st. And so there's going to be more light in our days, you know, eventually. And, you know, Capricorn is the season that marks longevity and building solid structures. So a few days after Capricorn season begins on the 23rd, we have that new moon in Capricorn at 1 degree. And Chiron will be stationed in direct. So during Chiron's retrograde, there may have been a lot of healing and shadow work going on. And, you know, that's why, because this energy highlights our deepest wounds. It illuminates that. And so with the moon being here, this new moon in Capricorn, setting new intentions, it's continuing that that pattern of 1 degree new moons that we've been experiencing since last month. You know, there's going to be a bit of a shadow period for a few weeks after Chiron stations direct. So you may find that the work that you've done during the retrograde season actually feels like parts of you have actually healed, and you might feel a little bit lighter. You might feel a bit better. Also, if you want to check in with your energy, book a Reiki session with me. Just had to throw that out there so we can work on that, especially, you know, if you've been doing some really heavy shadow work and healing and whatnot. It's great to get, you know, recalibrated in your energy fields. Okay. Now, also, the last major transit of the year of 2022 is Mercury station in retrograde. So that happens on December 29th. And, you know, we know exactly what Mercury retrograde does. It happens 3, if not 4 times a year. And we know this is just a time to be extra cautious. There's nothing really to worry about. I don't like necessarily the fear mongering of any planet, but particularly Mercury. So just think about, as you're ringing in the new year, you just need to check on your schedule, check for your Uber ride and all that, you know, making sure your calendars are in order, making sure your correspondence is, you know, checked twice before you send it out to the wrong person. Take your time also to think about your goals for the new year. Okay. It's really an ideal time for us to be reviewing, revamping, revising, and resting before this new year begins. Okay. Now, talking a little bit about the chakra focus for the month of December, we have a strong focus on remaining grounded and rooted in our truth, right? So that means that in correlation with the 2 major lunar cycles that we have, with the full moon being in Gemini, the intellectual sign of Gemini, and that boss energy of Capricorn, the chakra focus will be on our root, our throat, and our third eye chakras, right? So the root help us to feel supported and safe as we navigate, you know, uncharted territories and things of that nature, especially within the new year coming. Being able to stay connected to our voice with clear vision stems from our throat chakra. And then that third eye chakra will assist us in making intuitive decisions that are rooted well from our sense of safety and with clarity, right? So if you want to know more about that, I list some stones and crystals, some scents, and some different herbs, as well as a monthly mantra on my website. And you can carry that with you throughout the entire month, just to kind of help you stay grounded and reminded of what it is that you need to be focused on for the month of December. All right, so now let's get into these transits, shall we? For the first week of December, we have Venus opposing Mars retrograde. We have Neptune stationing direct. Mercury is entering into Capricorn, and we have the full moon at 16 degrees Gemini, and then we have Venus entering into Capricorn. That's all in the first week of December. Okay, so with Venus opposite Mars, this happens on December 1st. You can kind of feel this energy as early as like the ending days of November. And so Mars is retrograde in Gemini, and oppositions are typically an indication that there needs to be an integration of something. In this case, we have Venus, right? The planet of love, money, beauty, is finding balance within Mars, right? The planet of passion, initiative, and aggression. So these two in opposition can bring inner aggression, especially since Mars is retrograde. But ultimately, it can bring some agitation, right? And that agitation is stemming from a place of passion because we want to do something. We want to, initiate something. We're passionate about something. And so since Venus is the ruler of artistry, we could dive into our creative endeavors, in order to balance the intense energy of this transit. Now, Sagittarius is where Venus currently resides, okay? So Sagittarius is all about adventure. So doing something spontaneous, like going on a trip or a new adventure, could help also, but pay attention and be careful with trips and whatnot, because accidents are prone to happen with that Mars being in the sign of Gemini, and Gemini rules short distance trips. So just kind of keep in mind of that. If you are looking to meet someone new, it's highly possible under the influence of this transit as well. So that looks good for you. Also, moving forward, we have Neptune stationing direct at 22 degrees Pisces. And I was previously talking about this. So this happens December 4th, and it will remain direct until June 30th of 2023. And so Neptune is our planet of spirituality, inspiration, illusions, creativity. Over the last 5 months, we have experienced a strengthening of our intuitive and psychic abilities. We have been in a space of questioning those hunches, right? That gut response for the sole purpose to just lean in and trust ourselves. Now, Neptune is stationing direct. We can actually take action on those dreams and those inspirations that have surfaced over the last 5 months. Neptune is at home when it's in the sign of Pisces. So it feels good. It's comfortable here. This is where it rules the unseen and undoing. And so it is here where the veil and the energetic string of silk that connects us all to the collective unconscious happens. This is where this sits at, right? And so depending on where Pisces sits in your chart, we may witness a level of undoing in these areas of our lives, bringing hidden motivations to the surface. And as always, it's important that we meditate, we sit in stillness, and we practice our spiritual routines as often as possible, okay? So that is that for that Neptune direct energy. So whatever's been going on behind the scenes or on an internal level is going to come out to the surface and manifest in reality for us. All right, now we have Mercury entering into Capricorn. So this happens on December 6th, all the way through to February 11th. And it's extended because the Mercury, the planet of communication, is going to go retrograde at the end of the month. So from December 6th to February 11th, Mercury helps us to relate to the world in various ways, right? So Capricorn is determined, ambitious, and is disciplined enough to remain grounded in its pursuits. Now, when Mercury is in the sign of Capricorn, direct communication, career, and goal-oriented focus are better ways to describe this energy. Now is a great time to start thinking about, what we would like to accomplish in our jobs, our career, primarily through talking with someone or journaling, right? Using that Gemini Mercury kind of energy to do so, but also talking with a trusted superior, right? Because that Capricorn energy is very, boss-like. It's about that superior energy. So it could be someone like in a position of authority. It could be someone that you trust, maybe even an elder, someone that has wisdom. Just talk it out with them about what your goals are. You might get some insight, some wisdom from someone who has experience, right? We may feel more calculated, methodical, and patient in our endeavors. Capitalize on that energy while we can, okay? So, just keep in mind that during this transit, our attention to detail is increasing and our decision-making becomes more rational than when Mercury traveled through Sagittarius and it was kind of convoluted in our ideas and how we spoke on things a little bit, although we were speaking from a space of truth, right? Because of Sagittarius. But yeah, so take heed of that, right? You know, capitalize on this energy as you can, because we're going to have the ability to focus on the details and make things happen in real time. Now, also, at the time that Mercury enters into Capricorn, it will be square Jupiter that's still in Pisces. So there may be an increase in our schedules, our plans, our ideas, our conversations. Mercury in Capricorn is perfect energy for planning and being frugal with our finances, especially during the holiday season. I'm just going to add that. But shortly after the winter season begins, Mercury is going to station retrograde at 24 degrees, and this is creating that lasting energy, you know, that's going to move this Mercury into Capricorn all the way into February of 2023. And also, this is the last retrograde of 2022. So keep that in mind as well. And this is going to help us increase our ability to manifest things that are going to provide longevity and also help us be more disciplined in creating our ideas. All right, now moving on to the full moon at 16 degrees Gemini. This happens on December 7th or December 8th, depending on where you are in the world. Universal time is December 8th at 4:07 p.m. So we know that this is a full moon, right? And, you know, full moons are bright and they're brilliant and they illuminate the night sky. We know that. We can count on full moons to shine brightly on the intentions that we've set during the previous lunar cycle. And so with full moons, it's also a time of releasing, letting go. So something comes to a culmination with the energy of full moons. Like we planted a seed, you know, 6 months to a year or whatever. We planted the seed and now the seed is blossoming. It's come to, you know, its fullness, and now we can, you know, take harvest of that. That's what these full moons are about. Now, keeping this in mind, coupled with that Gemini energy, what friendships are we no longer or are no longer serving us, right? That's something to consider. What ideas or plans are no longer resonant with the vision that we have for our future. What has culminated at this time when it comes to relating, small business, our travel, our commute, you know, trades and skills, all of those Gemini rule things, the ways that we see or perceive certain situations, how we communicate, right? And also, how can we communicate clearly? What ideas or plans are coming to their fullness right now? Ask yourself all of these questions at the time that this full moon occurs. Now, Gemini is the social butterfly, and it has a reputation for being two-faced, but really Gemini is just an intellectual air sign. It has the option to change its mind, right? So, you know, our opinions can change, just saying. So I'm always going to go to bat for a Gemini because I am one. Now, this full moon is really a great time to think about our current social life, the communication within our relationships, and also what ideologies we should be letting go of. Gemini rules how we communicate, our mental faculties, information overall, right? Excuse me, all types of information. Now, governing our respiratory system, right? That's the breath. The breath gives us life, right? That's what that represents. Now, what can be let go of in order to feel alive again? That's another question to ask. What projects have we been breathing life into? Or what ideas have we been breathing life into? And now it's culminating. At the time of the full moon, there will be a T-square in the mutable signs, Pisces, Sagittarius, and Gemini. The sun is in Sagittarius, opposing the Gemini moon that's conjunct retrograde Mars. Also, while it's squaring Neptune that just recently stationed direct in Pisces. So this brings a bit of tension to the surface. And also it can be a little bit confusing as to what's going on right now. Without our doing, we may see things dissolving due to the influence of that Neptune energy. So just pay attention to the things that seem too good to be true at this time. Also, trust your intuition. You know, the endings that are happening right now is pushing us towards setting our ideas into motion, and also a strong desire to focus on the change that's being promised for us up ahead. Okay, now, also the last part of the first week, literally, this is just the first week of December. Venus is going to be in the sign of Capricorn. This starts December 10th until January 3rd. And so Venus transits Capricorn, after its adventurous stay in Sagittarius. Mercury entered Capricorn less than a week apart from Venus. And so they are still traveling very close in connection. Venus governs the things that bring pleasure, our sense of taste, our style. It's also the ruler of our values, our finances, how we create money for ourselves. And Venus rules artistry, music, and beauty. So when we consider these themes and the Capricorn's ambitiousness, there's going to be an increase in our desire to make money for ourselves, create long-lasting relationships, even if they are friendships, and whatnot. And so Capricorn is all about quality over quantity. So that also means that we might be letting some things go, especially with, the transit through Capricorn. We might be like, hey, this isn't working for us. This does not yield long-term results. So we got to let it go, right? Especially when, we see things more clearly as it squares Jupiter in Pisces, right? So it's going to be bringing forth abundance and opportunities in love and money. So, bringing also the truth in those matters as well. It's essential that we don't get caught up in opportunity over making those long-lasting decisions, with that square to Jupiter, because, that transit can bring an increase in things, right? And also that increase could come in the matters of work, business ownership, or even marriage, right? So we could see that happening for a lot of us. Our values must align with our ambitions, okay? Keep that in mind. Our values must align with our ambitions. So whatever we are pursuing during this time must be in alignment to the Venusian energy, right? So they say you'll never work a day in your life if you love what you do. Well, this Venus and Capricorn energy is the cosmic equivalent to that. And that's what we're going to be really determining at this time. Now, moving on to week 2 of December, we have major transit is Mercury squaring Chiron in Aries, right? Mercury is in Capricorn. And this happens December 15th. So this transit teaches us that our past pain was not an accident, nor was it a mistake. Our pain can be repurposed into the most extraordinary power with the energy of with the energy of Chiron in our charts. I'm still stuck on Capricorn. Chiron is currently transiting through Aries, so it's helping us to heal our self-image and our confidence. Chiron in Aries has been bringing up old traumas to address surrounding our ability to take risks and act on our desires, be confident, our self-image, our bodies, all of those different things. And so that square that's happening with Mercury and Capricorn grounds us in practicality to clearly understand these situations, to see how can we repurpose this into our own power, right? Putting the power back into our hands. We may experience some triggering conversations at the time that this happens, maybe a day or so before and after the exact square of this energy. But the invitation is here during this time to dive deeper and understand what this all means for us. Always ask yourself, what does this mean for me? What is here for me to learn in this situation or within this conversation or this quote unquote trigger, right? Try to navigate our way back to the first time that we felt that triggering feeling, to see if there is an ingredient to add to that elixir that helps us heal ourselves, right? That's that Chiron energy. All right, now moving on into week 3. Another busy week for December. Venus is going to also square Chiron in Aries, and this happens a few days later, December 19th. And so Venus in Capricorn gives us a lesson to remember our worth and our values, right? So while squaring Chiron in Aries, we may lose sight of that temporarily, only so it can force us to perform in ways that we might be like trying to prove our worthiness just so we can get back to understanding our true worth, right? It's kind of interesting how that happens. So that square aspect, they are deemed to be challenging, as they are the very thing that helps us grow, right? You only grow through challenging situations. Additionally, this transit could bring issues within our interpersonal relationships, also our finances. So pay attention to your spending habits. You may develop some understanding as to why you do certain things, why certain things trigger trigger you, or the certain traumas may come back up to surface in relationships. So just pay attention to all of those things. We may have like an embarrassing or triggering situation within our social connections, like with our friends. But the key is to remember that you are worthy and you are valuable, regardless of what embarrassing or, traumatic situation that may occur or that may come back up that reminds you of an embarrassing moment. Okay. Now, also, we have Mars sextile in Chiron. This happens December 19th. So that sextile between action-oriented Mars and Chiron creates an energy that will inspire us to take action on healing our wounds. We could find ourselves utilizing the Mars energy to change those specific trauma responses by putting tools and techniques into action. Right. So we might have a conversation or we might learn something, and now we're actually putting it into action to help us work through and heal certain areas of ourselves. Additionally, we are our own personal army, right? Boundaries, self-protection are things to embrace, especially at this time. So it might be something that comes back around for us to understand. All right. Now, shortly after, we have Jupiter re-entering into Aries, and this happens December 20th all the way through to May 16th. And then we get to experience Jupiter in Taurus. So it's going to be moving from my personal, so Jupiter in Aries is entering my 12th house, and it's going to be moving into Taurus in 2023, which is in my first house. So I'm really interested in seeing what that's going to be like. Like, am I going to gain weight? Jupiter expands thing, and that's the house of the body. Am I going to get fat? Am I going to start, spreading out my thighs? I don't know. I'm just being silly. Either way, Jupiter is entering into Aries. So Jupiter is optimistic, fun, and it's all about growth, abundance, and expansion. So when Jupiter enters Aries, I say Aries, what is this? When it enters Aries, we may find that our motivation is off the charts right now. We'll say that we're going to feel more energized, right? So at the first time that, let's talk about this real quick. Well, first, let me say this. Aries is, very fiery, strong-willed. It really likes being in, Jupiter really likes being in fire signs, right? So being here in Aries is great, right? And with Aries having that statement of I am for this sign, we may find ourselves being very excited to make changes related to how we identify ourselves and how we want to grow and develop as people, right? So this is very, key indications. Jupiter first entered Aries. This is what I want to say. So it first entered Aries May of 2022, right? Now, due to the retrograde phase that we are experiencing right now, right? So it went retrograde, dip back into Pisces, and it's stationed direct. So now it's moving back into Aries. The first time that it entered into Aries, it was a shit show because we had like Chiron was there in Aries, and there was like so many different crazy planets that was going on last May. And so we really couldn't feel that benefic energy of Jupiter in Aries. And so now it's like we're getting a do-over of this initial Jupiter and Aries energy that was felt very briefly during the summer because Jupiter went retrograde after that. And so we start feeling it differently. So Jupiter will continue through Aries until May 16th of 2023, and then it will leap into Taurus. And so depending on where Aries rests in your chart, we might experience like truth and expansion in those areas, all right? So being in like my 12th house, for example, it might bring in more seclusion, more isolation, where I have to work on something behind the scenes, something that's creative, something that's going to help me grow. Also, it might be something in relation to like something creative, something also spiritual. I might end up going to a retreat or going on a trip, long distance travel, something like that. Jupiter is that, and air, 12th house also rules, settlements, foreign settlements. So anywho, Aries can be a bit impulsive, so keep that in mind. I have an Aries moon, just saying. And with Jupiter, I didn't even consider Jupiter's going to be going over my moon again. Wow. All right. So with Jupiter encouraging this behavior, Lord help me, we are prone to have the need to do it big all 2023. And we will all initiate something new, taking risks and leaps of faith into what aligns with our personal truths. Towards the spring of 2023, Jupiter is going to make a conjunction to Venus, Chiron, Mercury, and the Sun right before jumping into Taurus to square it with Pluto. So we have an exciting transit with this Jupiter energy ahead of us, but I talk more about the Jupiter transit in the sign of Aries in my 2023 year ahead focused. Okay. So look out for that. That should be coming out in a couple of weeks. I'll make that formal announcement. Also, I forgot to mention that in the announcement. So my bad. All right. Now, also, we have the sun entering into Capricorn. And so when the sun enters into Capricorn, this represents the winter solstice. It's December 21st. It's the winter solstice, but Capricorn season will be here until January 20th of 2023. So Capricorn season takes us into the new year. So welcome winter and happy solar return to all of you Capricorns. Now is the perfect time to set your intentions and your New Year's resolutions, create your vision boards for 2023 under the energy of the winter solstice. It is the longest night and the shortest day of the year. So this is when the darkness takes the lead for us to embrace it as equally and as much as we do the light. And this is from the absolution, from absolute nothing, from nothingness is where everything is created. So that's why it's very important that we use the winter solstice to, do our vision boards and set our intentions for the moments ahead. Now, after all, like I said, nothing is what creates all things, and the sun is below the horizon, indicating the death of the sun awaiting to rise again 3 days later. Sounds familiar? So anywho, I'm not going to get into my biblical translations of astrology yet. So anywho, the sun represents many things. It's our personality. It's our purpose also, our focus, it represents authority figures, vitality, our creativity, children, our inner child, innocence. And so we may see a shift in our focus to less adventure and more career and longevity, hence it, being in Capricorn season. Capricorn energy is also known as the perfectionist, right? So it's important that we try to incorporate some fun and lightheartedness during the season. I think that'll be good with, the holiday season being here also. The sun will begin to square Jupiter at the beginning of the season. So this is indicating more joy and more boldness, right? So squares to Jupiter don't always indicate challenges. It can also, alternatively indicate overabundance of something, like an inflation of something. So too much of something can still be a bad thing. So keep that in mind. As we gear up for our Capricorn New Moon and Chiron station and direct, that happens a couple of days after Capricorn season begins. It's essential to stay grounded in what matters most. Capricorn season always reminds us how easy it is to get caught up in our responsibilities, but we should always incorporate fun, pleasure, and self-care as often as possible. All right, so speaking of that new moon in Capricorn, it's continuing on with the 1 degree energy of new moons that we've been experiencing since November. This happens on December 23rd. And it's amplifying that new beginning energy even more, right? With that 1 degree new moon. The last new moon of 2022 is happening, right? It's supercharged, and it continues that initiating 1 degree energy. So moving into 2023, we will continue the trend of 1 degree new moons until March, as though the universe is like trying to give us some type of like hint or a key something, I don't know, it's trying to tell us something. So new moons are a time of setting intentions. We manifest in the darkness of the new moon what we would like to bring into the lightness, into our realities under the full moon's light, right? So the new moon, it is basically an excellent opportunity to meditate about what it is that we want to achieve in the new year, relating to our goals, our legacy, and anything career, job, or even hustle focused, right? So side hustles, whatever. Jupiter is also going to be playing a role in the illumination of this new moon because it's squaring the new moon at 0 degrees. So it's not an exact square, it's just off by 1 degree. It's a 1 degree orb, so I count that. But So, it's going to be making a square. So just kind of pay attention to the overabundance, like the thing I talked about with it being too much of a good thing can be a bad thing kind of thing, whatever. So pay attention to the synchronicities and the opportunities that are being presented at this time, the key indicators of what's coming in 2023. Use that benefic energy of Jupiter to meditate and manifest our goals, and also, our wishes and whatnot. So I hope you all have a happy new moon, and I'll be sharing more as the month continues about that also. So Chiron is stationing direct at 11 degrees Aries. This also happens on December 23rd, the same day that we have this new moon. And Chiron has been retrograde since July of 2022. Now that it's stationed moving direct, the energy is amplified and it's potent. Chiron is known as our wounded healer. It represents our deepest wounds that will forever be part of our identities. The transit going through the I am sign of Aries has taught us to embrace our wounds with fierce love and compassion. Those feelings of guilt and shame and whatnot. It is through the transmutation of this energy that we can turn pain into our most extraordinary power and create portals of healing for others as well as ourselves. So the common misconception that I get a lot about Chiron is that the idea is for us to heal this Chiron thing in order to become better. And that's not the truth. Right? It's not to become better. In reality, we are here to learn how to utilize our wounds to create wisdom, knowledge, and personal power, not only for ourselves, but to be that example for others as well. Okay, so I just like to clear that up. I am the house of Chiron after all. So it's not for us to become better individuals. I mean, that actually happens naturally. The more that we face our wounds and work on ourselves, it happens naturally. We are becoming better, but that's not the sole purpose of Chiron. Okay, just throw that in there. All right, so that will wrap up the third week of December. Now, finally, the fourth week of December, we have Mercury stationing direct. I said direct. Mercury stationing retrograde at 24 degrees Capricorn. This happens December 29th, and it will be retrograde until January 18th. And this 2023, January 18th, 2023. So Mercury is at it again. Mercury retrograde tends to manifest here for us on Earth with technology glitches and communication issues. And, it's still nothing to really be scared of technically. It might bring back old relationships and stuff like that, depending on where this retrograde is happening in your chart, especially if you have like Capricorn in your 5th house or your 2nd house, maybe even your 8th house or 7th house. It might bring back, old relationships, something like that, but whatever. Retrogrades are a great time to do those things, right? Reset, rest, reflect, review, revise, revamp, all those things. Just kind of go over things and don't initiate anything new. With our planet of communication and ideas, retrograding almost entirely all the way back through Capricorn, it's a great time to reflect on your career, your legacy, and your accomplishments. Mercury is the planet of our thought process, processes, our ideas, mental faculties, like I said before, and all forms of communication. So when this planet is moving backwards, our thoughts and perceptions might be a little bit foggy. So just kind of keep mind of that. You might not be seeing things clearly or communicating things clearly. Just take your time. And while it's in the sign of Capricorn, Mercury will help us to reassess any outdated beliefs, fears, and thought patterns. Okay. So something that I also learned recently that might be very relevant to this is that Capricorn is the ruler of our vagus nerve, right? So, it's ruled by Saturn, so to speak. So the vagus nerve has a lot of association with trauma. So when Mercury goes retrograde, we might have traumas and things that come back up to surface for us to address, or we might get an understanding of something that happened in our past and be able to work through that and heal that in another way. So just kind of keep that in mind. Also, something that I've been kind of chewing on and learning and whatnot. I'm always studying something. So yeah, just keep that in mind. Thought that was an interesting little tidbit to add. All right. So now what we get to do is get through all of these signs, right? So let's get into the readings for all 12 signs. And we're going to start with Aries, okay? So Aries and Aries rising. Make sure before we get into that, make sure that you are listening for your sun, moon, and your rising sign. Okay. So your sun sign is going to be secondary, right? It's not the first primary energy that you would listen for, contrary to popular belief. Your sun sign represents your focus and your goals. It might even indicate some things going on within your career. Your rising sign is the one that's most accurate for you. Okay, so you want to listen to that one first. It's going to give you the trajectory of what's happening, right? So your rising sign is first and primary. Your sun sign is secondary. And last but not least will be your moon sign. It reflects your home, your family life, and it's more so about your internal world. It's about your emotional responses to what's going on within that sun and that rising sign energy, okay? So that is the guideline when you are listening for your signs, all right? Now let's get into this. Aries and Aries rising. Let's try this again. Aries, sun, moon, and rising. I'll say that. Mercury entering into Capricorn. So I'm going to read different transits for different signs because all the transits are affecting us differently. So the ones that are most impactful are the ones I'll be reading for each sign. And so for you, Aries, Mercury entering into Capricorn, it's going to be in your 10th house. So it enters into your 10th house. So you might be receiving information, or you might be starting a new job. You might be planning or going on interviews and things of that nature. And, just kind of having to commute on a consistent and daily basis to and from work. So this might be like a new thing for you because Mercury rules your 3rd house and your 6th house, right? So that's Gemini and Virgo. So 6th house is your daily habits, your routines, your rituals. 3rd house is your commute. So you might be, picking up a new commute, going back to work, also creating new plans. And also have a lot to do with maybe a small business or some type of acts of service that you do. You might be doing teaching or something along those lines as well. Okay, now Mercury is going to station retrograde at 24 degrees Capricorn at the end of the month. And this is also still in your 10th house. So it's going to go retrograde back into your 10th house for you to review, revamp, and revise anything that needs changes in your career. So you might be going back over or even receiving notification or some type of communication about a job offer that you thought passed you by, and it might be coming back around. It could be about teaching, or you just reviewing maybe a business thing. Maybe you have a small business and you're reviewing something, or you're working on something behind the scenes so that way you can launch it. These are all possibilities that are happening with this Mercury Capricorn transit, okay? Now, we have the full moon that's happening at 16 degrees Gemini on December 8th, and this is in your 3rd house, okay? So with this full moon culminating in your 3rd house, it's like you coming to a fullness of some type of educational pursuit. It might be that you are coming to launch something within your small business. You could be getting notification about going back to school or ending a certification. It could also indicate something going on with your siblings or your immediate family. Something that might be a bit aggressive also, right? This full moon is going to be conjunct Mars, and Mars is the ruler of your 1st house and also your 8th house. So it could have a lot to do with coming to a full combination of the resources that you get through your small business, or resources that you have obtained from learning a new skill or a trade, or implementing these new skills and trades into your work, so that way you can create new resources. It's something that you are initiating, right? Because Mars is the ruler of your chart. It's your chart ruler. Okay, so this moon is definitely going to be affecting you as well, directly. And then we have Jupiter entering into your sign on December 20th. So this is back into your 1st house. So with Jupiter being into your 1st house, there's going to be an expansion of your influence. You might get some recognition. You might be going on a trip. You're initiating going back to school because Jupiter rules your 9th house of higher education and long distance journeys. It also rules your 12th house. So this could be that you're going back to school for something spiritual, right? 12th house is Pisces. And so it could be spirituality, it could be psychology, it could be something, spiritual in the aspect of maybe even religion. Maybe you're going back to like theology school or something like that. some of you that might like resonate directly with. So it's just kind of like initiating something new from December 20th all the way through to the spring of 2023. This is going to be something that pans out for you, like a new beginning, something that's expanding, giving you a higher perspective when it comes to your consciousness. So you're learning something new. So it could definitely be that you're going back to school at this time. Now, also the new moon happens at 1 degree Capricorn, December 23rd in your 10th house. So this is a new beginning about your career, your public image, your social status, and your responsibilities to the world. Okay, Aries. So a new beginning, a new phase, and a new cycle that's happening in this career. So you could be really expanding and really embarking on a new journey when it comes to this sector of your chart, something that's going to be long-term, providing longevity and stability in a practical way for you. The moon is the ruler of your 4th house, so it has a lot to do with your stability, your home and family. But the sun is also here in this conjunction with this new moon, so that's the ruler of your 5th house. So it has a lot of alignment with who it is that you are, at your soul, at core, right? Your authenticity, being able to shine bright in your public image. Okay. So that is the quick forecast for you for the month of December, Aries. Now moving on to Taurus, sun, moon, and rising. Mercury is going to enter Capricorn in your 9th house, Taurus. Okay, so I have a Taurus rising. So Mercury enters Capricorn. So this is creating plans, getting communication about long distance journeys and higher education. So going back to school, going on trips and things like that. Maybe planning for like a graduation or something along those lines. I can say that I possibly resonate with all of these. My oldest son is graduating high school this year, so planning that. I'm going back to school. So that is the truth. And we are planning a family trip. So yeah, all of those things resonate, especially because Mercury is the ruler of our 2nd and 5th houses, right? So it has a lot to do with children. That's 5th house. And then also 2nd house is our possessions, right? It's also money that we make for ourselves. So something that's in alignment with our values as well. And so getting back into school, going on trips, higher education, something, where you are also enjoying more fun, having more connections with your children and creating more plans and whatnot. That also might be something that comes up. Now, Mercury station in retrograde, also in Capricorn at the end of the month in your 9th house. So it's going to almost go completely all the way back through Capricorn in your 9th house. So reviewing, you might get notification about school from like somewhere else, or you might have to review your plans for travel. Like I said, also it rules your 2nd and 5th house. So it has a lot to do with this energy that we're talking about with education, also maybe your life path. Excuse me. And ninth house also has to do with psychology, beliefs. So you might be reviewing your belief systems. You might be going under like a strong lens, like a really focused lens of what it is that you connect with, like your ingrained beliefs, those conditioned beliefs, right? Because that Capricorn energy. And when it stations retrograde, it could have a lot to do with that as well, but also just reviewing your path and what it is that you want to do. All right. Then we have the full moon at 16 degrees Gemini on December 8th in your 2nd house. So this is going to be coming to a full culmination where you find new streams of income, how to make money for yourself. It could be through small business, since the moon rules Cancer, which is your 3rd house. It could be that. It could be just more material possessions, or you just letting something go in order to receive something. That's interesting. I just said that about me with the readings. Also, keep in mind that this is conjunct Mars. Mars is about eliminating things, and it rules cutting things out. And so with it being conjunct Mars, it might be some aggressive kind of energy, might be a little tension that's still there. Mars is the ruler of Aries, which is your 12th house, and also rules Scorpio, which is your 7th house. So this is about your creativity. This is things that's done behind the scenes, things coming undone. Also, in the 7th house is your commitments. It's also relationships, partnerships. So it could be things that are coming undone, a full culminating point of like a relationship for some of us Taurus, that, you might be ending a relationship, severing a commitment that you've had. It could be a job commitment, could be a relationship, whether it's intimate, platonic, however. And if you are in like a marriage and you have no issue, this is not for you. Take what's for you and then leave the rest. But for some of us, we are Taurus risings are like, yeah, I'm ending this situation, or I'm ending this connection or this relationship, or, this commitment that I previously, said I was committed to, or, devoted to. I have to let this go because it's not resonant with me anymore, with my values, right? Because that's second house energy. So this full moon might be bringing some of that up to the surface. Now, also Venus enters into Capricorn, and Venus is your chart ruler. So anything that happens to Venus directly affects you. And with Venus entering into your ninth house on December 10th, it's going to really be bringing in your focus. Basically, for you is going to be traveling, finances, and education. Your beliefs is going to be expanding. You're going to be learning something that aligns to your values, something that you're really feeling connected to, because it's your chart ruler, right? Also, Venus rules your sixth house, which is your house of work, your routines, your acts of service. This is your daily ritual. So this might be where you start, receiving money for work or for school, or really feeling like, having to commit that daily energy into, traveling for work, or even traveling for school. That could be something as well. Now we have this new moon at 1 degrees Capricorn, and this happens in your ninth house also. And so this is a new beginning for higher education and traveling, your life path. So it's an alignment to like that psychology. It's an alignment to the consciousness, expanding your consciousness. So it's a new cycle that's beginning. The new moon is when the sun and moon is conjunct. And so the moon is the ruler of your third house, which is Cancer. And so it could be an indication of you learning something, a new skill, a new trade, a new certification, a new degree. Also could be small business. The sun is the ruler of your fourth house. So this is something that's bringing in stability and comfort, more security for you, something that is alignment with your influence as well. All right, so that is all that I have for you for Taurus, Sun, Moon, and Rising. Now for Gemini, Sun, Moon, and Rising, you have Mercury entering into Capricorn in your 8th house on December 6th. So Mercury in Capricorn in your 8th house, this is really putting a focus on your resources, your joint finances. If you have shared resources with other people, whether it's in relationship or however, really creating a financial plan. You might be taking the time to sit and restructure your finances, restructure your resources that you have. You could also be receiving money from work that you are doing, and just just figuring out the money that's coming into the home, right? Mercury rules your first house, it's your chart ruler, but it's also your ruler of your fourth house, which is Virgo. So that's a lot to do with home. So you could also be planning to bring in more resources into the home also, and just kind of writing that down, creating a plan, communicating about that, maybe communicating that with your partner, coming up with a strategic financial plan as well that's going to yield long-term results, because Mercury is in Capricorn. Now, when Mercury stations retrograde at the end of the month, still be in your 8th house, it's going to be having you to review those plans, right? Before you set them in motion, going back, reviewing them. There might be some resources and some things that come back to you, like maybe money from, like a debt, or some kind of money from government or something that you thought was not yours, or it was gone, or it was lost. But there could be some a reversal, right? Because 8th house is also about sudden reversals. So this could be that you receive that money that you thought was not coming back, or that you thought was lost, or you just didn't even really know about it, right? Something secret, right? 8th house is also secrets. So that could be something that comes back around, or it just could be information that comes back as secrets coming out about something. Also, then we have a full moon at 16 degrees Gemini, and this is in your first house. So this is directly affecting you, and this is you coming to fullness of yourself, right? So it's just like, hey, I set this, I planted to seed, 6 months ago under the Gemini new moon to change how I initiate things, or how I go about, making resources for myself, because the moon rules your second house. And now you're seeing the full culmination of that come to head. Now, also, It's going to be conjunct Mars. Mars rules your 11th and your 6th house. So that's Scorpio, 6th house, and Aries, 11th house. So about your goals, about your work. It has a lot to do with your daily habits, also your health. You could be seeing the fullness of like a health situation that's coming in, and you could be receiving help from your friends, right? Since Aries rules, Aries is in your 11th house and Mars rules your 11th house. So you could be eliminating something, letting go of some type of affiliation with friendship or a large organization, something along those lines as well. Now, Jupiter enters Aries, and this happens December 20th in your 11th house. So it's going to be expanding, bringing in new friendships, new connections, networking circles. Your goals and your vision is going to be expanding, and you're going to be able to take action on it, right? And initiating it with inspiration and confidence. Jupiter is the ruler of your 7th house and your 10th house. So it rules Sagittarius and Pisces. So it's like your commitments to your work, your commitments to your public image, your social status, your responsibilities to the world. Okay. And so, you know, there's going to be an expansion in truth about that coming out. You might receive, you know, this added focus. You might receive a level of recognition in the work that you do, or the large groups and organizations that you are affiliated with. There might be some opportunities that come out to network or to meet new people and whatnot. So keep that in mind. Now, also the new moon happens at 1 degree Capricorn in your 8th house as well. So this is a new cycle and a new phase, a brand new beginning, and the resources that you get. And this is resources that you get from other people outside of yourself, right? So it could be from a job, it could be from a small business, it could be joint finances. Also a new cycle when it comes to intimacy and bonding in your relationships. The moon rules your 2nd house, which is also a relationship house, but it also is the rule of your 3rd house, which is, you know, about your siblings. It's about your immediate environment, your daily commute. So this might be a new cycle where you are buying a new vehicle. This might be like you're acquiring new assets, things like that. Okay, so that is all that I have for you, Gemini, Sun, Moon, and Rising. Okay, so for Cancer and Cancer rising, or Cancer sun, moon, and rising, excuse me, we have Mercury entering into Capricorn, and this happens on December 6th, and it's going to be in your 7th house. So Mercury going through your 7th house is you really rethinking and planning and creating new commitments, lots of communication, lots of information coming in. You could be signing new contracts. You could be committing to a new way of work and doing things. Also, this could indicate like maybe education or school, picking up a new skill or a new trade, working on something behind the scenes. Also, you might get some information about, you know, your health, and maybe some level of communication about health and what you need to do to work on healing that aspect of yourself, because, you know, Mercury rules your 12th house, also rules your 3rd house. So that's the house of communication and your immediate environment. So it could be that you're creating a plan behind the scenes to buy a new vehicle, to sign a contract for that. Those are all high possibilities as well. And then Mercury is going to station retrograde. So you're going to have to rethink these plans and revise and revamp and review. And also just kind of take a break on initiating them while Mercury is going retrograde in Capricorn in your 7th house. There might be some things that, you know, come to surface about, like I said, your health. And now you have more understanding during the retrograde where you can implement these things once the station's to move direct again. Okay. Now you have a full moon that happens at 16 degrees Gemini, and the moon is your chart ruler, Cancer. Okay, so anything that happens to the moon happens to you. So with this full moon happening in your sign, it has a lot to do with, you know, you, so to speak. It's in your 12th house because Gemini sits in your 12th house, but that has a lot to do with your healing, things coming undone, subconscious patterns, self-sabotaging behaviors, and how you are going around to recognize these things and release. There's going to be something being let go of. It could be, you know, a need for you to pay attention to your dreams. It could also be an indication for you to, you know, work on something behind the scenes to help you heal your body. It could be some things going on about your health that comes up to the surface. Also, you working in a creative way behind the scenes, right? So it could be like working in the kitchen, cooking, doing working like a hospital, or massages, things like that, right? Because 12th house rules these things, and this 12th house energy of like retreats and healing and resorts and spirituality, and could even be creativity. So this could be you having this moment of culmination that comes up where it's fully illuminated, where you recognize what needs to be let go of. You see the full combination of the healing and the journey that you have embarked on up until this point. Okay. Also is going to be in a conjunction with Mars, and Mars is the ruler of your 10th house, which is Aries, and the ruler of your 5th house, which is Scorpio. So that conjunction might bring in a bit of tension, a little aggression, maybe a bit of agitation also in association with this full moon. And so, having things be cut and removed, right? For the full moons are a time for releasing anyway. And when you have this this conjunction with Mars, and Mars already has that energy to remove and cut things out, it has a lot to do with your public image, right? Because rules your 10th house, your 5th house, your identity, your authenticity, anything that does not resonate with what you want to do. So it could be a level of undoing, things being dissolved, things being released and let go of, when it comes to subconscious patterns and maybe work, maybe career, and how you have gone about initiating things, being more responsible. And, also Gemini is about social, right? Your communication and your perception of things, your skills and trades. So also we have Jupiter entering into Aries, and this happens December 20th. And moving all the way into like 2023, is going to be in your 10th house. So Jupiter in your 10th house is going to be expanding and bringing more influence into your public image, your persona. You might gain a sense of popularity or fame even. It's really just expanding your career and the work that you're doing, especially with Jupiter ruling over your 6th house, Sagittarius, and that's the work and service that you provide to other people. It also has a lot to do with your health, has a lot to do with your daily routines. And also it's the ruler of your 9th house, which is Pisces, and Pisces has a lot to do with your path. And so it's like a lot of alignment that's happening, the truth of the alignment. Also, you might find yourself really rethinking your beliefs as well in association with your public image and your responsibilities to the world. Okay. Now, also we have this new moon that happens. Okay. And the new moon happens in the sign of Capricorn. And so with this new moon being in the sign of Capricorn, it's in your 7th house. Okay. So the new moon is also at 1 degree in your 7th house. So this is the start of a new phase when it comes to your commitments and your relationships with other people. You might be signing new contracts and making new commitments that could be business commitments or ways that you make money for yourself. So this could also indicate like you starting a new job or a new career or something along those lines. And it's something that you are initiating, okay? And so it's like this new cycle that's happening of you embarking on these new commitments. And the moon is your chart ruler. It rules your 1st house, and the sun is it rules your 2nd house, right? So that's about finances and money you make for yourself, relationships. It also is about your possessions. So this is a new cycle bringing in new possessions, okay? All right. So for Cancer, Sun, Moon, and Rising, that is all that I have for you. All right. Now for Leo, Sun, Moon, and Rising, you have the full moon that happens at 16 degrees Gemini, and this is on December 8th in your 11th house. Okay, so this full moon, it's fully culminating, coming to this fullness of the seeds that you planted during Gemini new moon, that happened 6 months ago. And so with it being your 11th house, you're seeing the fullness of your goals and your vision for life, your material possessions, and your friendships. You're recognizing certain things about your friendships and the people that you network and connect with. There could be a level of undoing and dissolving that's happening when it comes to this, of course, because it's a full moon, but also because the moon rules your 12th house, which is Cancer. So something might be coming undone, or you might be achieving a goal behind the scenes, or there might be a goal of healing or restoration. This is also the house that rules, healing and our subconsciousness. So you might be coming to this fullness of understanding when it comes to your subconscious patterns and association with your beliefs, with other people and your friendships. Now, also this moon is going to be conjunct Mars, and Mars is the ruler of your 9th house Aries and 4th house house, Scorpio. So with it being here in this conjunction, it might bring some agitation, but it's also indicating like this new beginning that's happening where things are going to be cut out that don't align to your path or your vision for your life, right? Ruling your ninth house, but sitting in your 11th house. Also, it has a lot to do with your sense of comfort, your sense of safety. Okay, that conjunction with Mars could bring in that added energy. Excuse me. All right, so it's bringing in that energy of needing to let something go in order to provide a solid foundation that brings in more safety and stability and security within the home and family life as well. So it could be you achieving your goals, you know, when it comes to like your mothering, your education. Also with that ninth house, fourth house energy that Mars is ruling, it could be that you're looking to move, acquire land or real estate. And so this could be like the fullness that comes up, like recognizing what needs to be done and releasing a certain aspect of that goal, revamping and revising that, right? So a rebrand, right? That's very Gemini energy. All right, then we have Jupiter entering into Aries, right? Jupiter loves being in fire signs. And so since you are a fire sign, it's definitely going to be affecting you, Leo. So with Jupiter entering into your ninth house, this is definitely going to be giving you more opportunities to expand your worldview, your vision, expand your consciousness, your beliefs. You're going to be really coming into the truth and learning something new. You could be enrolling back in school. Also, this might bring in opportunities for you to have long distance travels and journeys, you know, more mentorships, or you might be launching your own mentorship program. With Jupiter ruling your fifth house, it rules Sagittarius. This has a lot to do maybe with you teaching your children, having more fun and joy with that, or just embarking on trips, long distance journeys that help you with, you know, tapping into that zest of life and sparking you in that way. Also, maybe more romantic relationships, right? Especially with Jupiter ruling your eighth house of intimacy and intimate relationships. It could also bring in more finances or resources from education or from like a mentor or someone in that position of leadership, so to speak. Then we have the sun entering into Capricorn. And since the sun is your chart ruler, every time the sun transitions, it directly affects you. So you feel the shift of the seasons every time. And so with the sun moving into Capricorn, the start of the winter solstice, it moves into your sixth house. So your focus is going to be on your health, your daily habits, your routines, your rituals, the work and the service that you provide to other people. And since it's your chart ruler, this is something that you're initiating, something that you are taking control of and finding more confidence in doing. This is where your focus will be for all of Capricorn season. And so last but not least, Leo, we have that new moon in Capricorn. And with that new moon happening on the 23rd, it's in your sixth house also. And so it's a new cycle, a new phase that happens in regards to your daily habits, routines, your work, the service that you provide to others, and also, you know, the health, your health regimen, right? And so with the moon and the sun being here in a conjunction, the moon rules your 12th house. So it could be a level of things coming undone when it comes to self-sabotaging behaviors, just a new beginning that you're setting on creating work behind the scenes. You could be working on like a retreat or some type of programming to offer as a service that's working, you know, being worked on over the next 6 months or so. So it's a wonderful time to set intentions regarding that. Also, we have the sun here, and the sun rules your first house. So it's something that's going to affect you and also benefit you at the same time. All right, Leo. All right, so for Virgo, sun, moon, and rising, we have Mercury entering into Capricorn, and this is in your fifth house on December 6th. So with Mercury entering into your fifth house, this is plans for, you know, your children, plans for fun. You might have more communication and more understanding when it comes to connecting with your children, maybe even your romantic partnerships. You might be creating something that aligns to your authenticity, your creative self-expression, and accordance to your career. So you know, you might be going under a complete rebrand of your career because Mercury is not only your chart ruler, but it also rules your 10th house, right? So Gemini and Virgo. So with it ruling your 10th house, it could be about your public image and your responsibility to the world, your career, and just you rebranding and rethinking that, especially when Mercury stations retrograde. So you might be going under a rebrand and creating something behind the scenes more so that way you can launch it at a later time. It's going to be retrograde at the end of the month until 2023, midway of January, in your fifth house. And so it's like a restructure, rebrand, revamp, revise energy of, who it is that you are. Also getting back into things that were your old hobbies, right? Maybe connecting with new people, maybe friendships or old romantic partnerships could come back to surface for a lot of the Virgos as well. Whether you accept the invitation or not, that's neither here nor there, but there is a high possibility with Mercury retrograde in your fifth house of romance as well. Now, also the full moon happens at 16 degrees Gemini, December 8th in your 10th house. So this is the culmination of, that career focus, right? So something is launching at this time, something is coming out at this time, and you are embarking on maybe a new path or finishing up an old cycle of your career, right? So it's like you're closing a chapter, something is coming, to an end, so to speak, when it comes to your public image and your career, and you're embarking on something new coming up. Now, and the moon is the ruler of your 11th house, which is Cancer. So it has a lot to do with your legacy, your goals, and your vision for your life, your networking and, networking circles, and also your friendships and networking circles that connect to your career path. And so with it being conjunct Mars is the ruler of your 8th house, so it has a lot to do with your resources. So this also could indicate like your partner getting a job, your joint finances increasing because of like a small business, or because your partner's finances, or you are obtaining more resources that happen to be like a vehicle. But there could be a little bit of a strain or some agitation going on with having to let something go, because full moons are a time of releasing. So you're having to let one aspect of your responsibilities go to embrace and pick up on a new one. And then we have that new moon that happens at 1 degree Capricorn in your 5th house also. So this is a new beginning of that 5th house energy, where you're embarking on a new beginning, a new cycle when it comes to your relationship with your children, when it comes to your romantic partnerships, your sense of joy and fun, maybe even starting new hobbies, getting into something creative that aligns to your soul purpose. The moon and the sun are here in a conjunction, and the moon rules your 11th house. So it's about your goals, your vision, your authenticity, your sense of autonomy, friendships, connecting with friends and doing things in that brings more harmony to you. Also, the sun is the ruler of your 12th house. So it has a lot to do with things happening behind the scenes, coming undone, something that is spiritual, and also healing, maybe even healing a new dynamic. And also the 12th house is the house of undoing. So there could have been some things that, were going on with the children that are coming undone as well. All right, Virgo. So now moving on to Libra, sun, moon, and rising. So we have the full moon at 16 degrees Libra. At 16 degrees Gemini, and it's in your 9th house. Okay, so with it being in your 9th house, it's like a full ending, culminating experience that happens when it comes to your career, not necessarily your career, but your focus, your life path, your journey, so to speak. And 9th house also indicates like higher education. So you could be wrapping up a course, you could be coming to a full understanding of, this educational experience that you have been involved in. You could be, coming to some type of milestone in your education pursuits. Also, this might be an indication of like the wrapping up or the culmination of a trip or a journey that you have been on, or that, maybe you've been traveling a lot and now you're like, okay, I need to be stationary, I need to chill, I need to focus on, X, Y, and Z, my career, so to speak, especially with the moon ruling your 10th house. It's going to be conjunct Mars, which rules your 7th house, Aries, and your 2nd house, Scorpio. So, there's going to be this ending of a cycle when it comes to your commitments and the career and the finances that you make for yourself. It also could be about relationships. So for some of us Libras, we could be going on a trip to visit or a long distance journey with our partners, or to go visit someone, but also, recognizing your commitments that you have been making to things, and whether they are in alignment to your values or not, and building that sense of confidence when it comes to that. Okay, now Venus enters into Capricorn, and this will be in your 4th house. And so with Venus being in your 4th house, first off, Venus is your chart ruler. It rules Taurus and Libra. And so Venus in Capricorn in your fourth house is going to be helping you understand and invest into your home, into your family, into maybe buying real estate or remodeling your home. And then also, you know, understanding the longevity of things, right? Bringing in resources into the home, you know, that are going to yield long-term results. So with Venus ruling your eighth house, as steady resources, it could also indicate that your partner's finances could be increasing at this time, and that brings in more stability into the home. And then Jupiter enters into Aries, and this is on December 20th in your seventh house, and it will be, you know, transiting your seventh house until next year, spring of next year. And so expanding your commitments, you know, giving you more opportunities to connect with people, more opportunities for partnerships and relationships, whether they're platonic, business, intimate, however. And also has a lot to do with opportunities to maybe start a new business, to learn a new trade or a new skill, right? So it rules your third house. Jupiter rules Sagittarius, and that sits in your third house. It also rules Pisces, which is your sixth house. So it has a lot to do with work, small business, trades and skills, your daily habits and routines, your daily commute. So you could be buying a new car. You might be opportunities for that, or opportunities just to expand on your commitments that you've made to, you know, your work environment and your actual immediate environment. And then we have the new moon at 1 degree Capricorn that happens in your fourth house. And so with this new moon, this is a cycle that's beginning in regards to your home and family, your sense of safety, your security, also your family lineage. So, you know, creating something new. You could be buying new real estate. You could be looking to move, acquire a new home, but also utilizing that platform of your home and family to project itself outwardly to your public image and career and responsibilities, because the moon rules your 10th house. Now, since the sun is here in a conjunction with the moon, the sun is the ruler of your 11th house, which is Leo. So since it's ruling that, it's all about your goals, it's about networking. So you could be really trying to achieve goals with acquiring a home, acquiring land, material gains, right? That's 11th house also. So this is something that you are embarking on for the next 6 months, so where over the next 6-month period, you're really hyper focused on, you know, obtaining real estate and other material possessions. All right. So for Scorpio, sun, moon, and rising, we have the full moon at 16 degrees Gemini, and this happens in your 8th house on December 8th. And so with this full moon, it's coming to a full culminating experience where you see the work come from like your partner's finances. Like they may have been really focused on creating more resources or more finances to bring into the home. And that could be something that kind of like dishes out at this time. Also, you know, this could be something that you are getting for you, like you're bringing in more resources. It could be financial or otherwise when it comes to from like higher education. Also, you might find yourself investing in school or investing in, you know, stocks or things of that nature, because you know, the 8th house rules that energy. And also with the moon being here, it, you know, rules Cancer, which is your 9th house. So this has a lot to do with higher education, your long-term journeys. It could be investments, things of that nature. And so you could be investing in a trip at some point later on down the road, or investing in new lines of work, or learning something new. Now it's going to be conjunct Mars, and Mars is the ruler of Aries and Scorpio. So that's your 6th and your 1st house. Mars is your chart ruler. So it's going to be really affecting you, Scorpio. So with it affecting you in this way, it's going to be, you know, pay attention to your health, anything that comes up at this time. Your daily routines might require some shifting. You might have to eliminate certain things that, you know, kind of change your daily habits. And your routines. It could really just indicate that your partner is starting work, and so now your schedule is changing, and this is something that you have to initiate, or that you're starting school, right? Or new sources of income, or old ways, something that's coming up to this full culmination because it's a full moon, so you're having to release it in order for something to come in. Now also Jupiter enters into Aries. Now this is on December 20th in your 6th house, and so with Jupiter in your 6th house, it brings out the truth about health situations, work, your daily habits. So there's more opportunities for work, more opportunities for service that you provide to other people, as well as being able to focus on your health. And so with Jupiter ruling Sagittarius and Pisces, that's your second and your fifth house. So second house is partnerships in, material possessions, things that you own, money that you make for yourself. And the fifth house is your children, creative self-expression, your hobbies, your joy, your fun, your soul purpose, and your focus, right? So, it could be that you're really going to be finding more opportunities to make money for yourself or bring in possessions when it comes to like creative projects and work that you provide to other people, like services, things of that nature. So that's going to be kind of panning itself out from now until, spring of 2023. And then we have that new moon at 1 degree Capricorn in your third house. And so the new moon in your third house indicates a new cycle of small business, education, skills and trades. So you're embarking on something new when it comes to this area of your life. You might be getting a new vehicle also, that's third house. The moon rules your ninth house. So it could also indicate a new cycle where you're going to be able to travel more, right? So travel for work or travel for school or studying abroad. That could also indicate that over the next 6 months, you're going to be traveling or planning for a trip. Now, the sun also is the ruler of your 10th house. And so this has a lot to do with your career. So it could be very well that you're embarking on a new career path, and it has to be maybe you're a small business owner or you're working for a small business. Now, also Chiron is stationed in direct at 11 degrees Aries in your 6th house. So working on really implementing the healing that needs to happen when it comes to your health as well as your work and whatnot, your not necessarily public image, but the work and the service that you provide to other people, especially with the station in direct. It's been retrograde all this time. And so while Chiron has been retrograde, you've just been really reviewing your health and things, so now you can put certain things into action to work on those wounds and utilizing them as a source of power. All right. So for Sagittarius, Sun, Moon, and Rising, we have Mercury entering into Capricorn on December 6th in your second house. And so this is making plans for material possessions, new ideas, new communication. It could also even be partnership as well that comes in during this time. Intimate relationships, because Mercury rules your 8th house, also rules your 11th house. And those are all relationship houses, 2nd, 8th, and 11th. So Mercury is in your second, ruling your 8th and 11th. So it could be relationship houses. So, maybe you are making more money because you are, in a new job, or you are obtaining a new goal. It could be that you are getting into a new intimate relationship. It could even be someone that you once was in a relationship with previously, maybe a friend or something along those lines. Also, if it's not about intimate relationships, and it could very well be that you are working to obtain a goal, to bring in more resources, making money for yourself, and, achieving that goal through networking and connecting with people that help you get into these different positions. Okay. And then Mercury is going to station retrograde at 24 degrees Capricorn at the end of the month. So it's retrograding back through your second house. So it's like you have to replan and revise and revamp your finances and your possessions. So you might have to give some things away or sell some things, or you're having a garage sale, something like that. Or you might come under review for like work, because Mercury rules your 10th house. Did I say 10th house, or is that 11th house? Virgo. Either way, Mercury rules Virgo. And so with Mercury ruling Virgo, it might have a lot to do with your legacy and your career and your goals as well. Okay. And having to review all of those things. Okay. And then we have the full moon that happens in the sign of Gemini at 16 degrees on December 8th in your 7th house. And so that full moon is coming to a full culmination where you're releasing certain commitments, certain contracts, relationships that no longer resonate with you, or they have just reached their fullest potential. You planted the seed, so now you're reaping the harvest. You're getting the benefits for the seeds and the work that you put in over the last 6 months. Now, also, with this full moon, the moon rules Cancer, which is your 8th house. And with Cancer being in your 8th house, and it has a lot to do with, resources, finances, intimate relationships. So this could be like, a full culminating experience of a relationship that you've been in, or a commitment. It could be a work commitment also. Now it's going to be conjunct Mars, and Mars is the ruler of your 5th house. It's also the ruler of your 12th house. So that's Aries and Scorpio. And with it ruling this, it has a lot to do with, maybe a commitment that you made to a child, or a romantic relationship coming to an end, coming undone, or maybe even like a reversal of a relationship, right? Because that 8th house that's ruled by the moon in your chart is about sudden reversals, and then the 12th house is undoing and endings and things like that. So it could be a commitment being reversed due to an undoing or some kind of, reversal. And then Jupiter enters Aries. Jupiter is the ruler, is your chart ruler. And so Jupiter loves being in fire signs. And with Jupiter being in your 5th house, also December 20th, it's going to really be expanding on, romantic relationships and your ability, to go out and have fun, connecting with your children. Also, some people might be getting pregnant at this time, right? Jupiter is the house, excuse me, the 5th house is the house that rules children. So Jupiter is about opportunities and expansion. So you might be expanding on your home, right? Your family, having more children. That's also a possibility. So keep that in mind. Something that you are initiating, something that you're wanting to do. So it's not for everyone, but that's definitely for some of the Sagittarius out there, expanding on their home, family, and also just embarking on having more fun with your children as well. And then last but not least, Sagittarius, you have the new moon at 1 degree Capricorn, and this happens on December 23rd in your 2nd house. And so with the new moon, it's indicating a new beginning, a new cycle, a new phase is happening in partnerships, in your resources, in your finances, money you make for yourself, your material possessions, your values, your self-worth, and, being able to get resources, whether it's from like a job or your partner's income increasing or something along those lines. It could be that you are receiving a raise, or you're embarking, going back to school, or maybe you're receiving money from a long distance journey, or to invest on a long distance journey, to go on a trip. So that is all high possibilities, and you're setting the intention right now, so that way it can manifest over the next 6 months. All right. So I'm going to move on to Capricorn. All right, Capricorn, sun, moon, and rising. We have Mercury entering into your sign. So Mercury moves into your 1st house on December 6th. And so with Mercury being in your 1st house, it has a lot to do with you just kind of replanning and rebranding how you show up, how you are seen, your self-image. Lots of communication and chatter could be coming in about you, about the changes that you are making. Mercury rules your 7th house, so it's about the commitments that you are making. And also there could be some kind of indication of a new job that you are embarking on. And you could be kind of getting into a new field of work or something along those lines, making a new commitment. It also could indicate maybe like a marriage, possibly, with the 7th house, but also that 10th house rulership, and the 10th house is about your social status. So that could be something shifting because Mercury rules Gemini in your 7th house and Virgo in your 10th house. So I think I have that incorrect. But Virgo is your 9th house, excuse me. So with Virgo being in your 9th house, so it's not necessarily your social status. So it's still like your life path, and it could indicate that you're making a commitment to go on like a trip or a journey instead. But also still like you could be getting a new job. You could be embarking on a new commitment to school or something along those lines. Now, once it stations retrograde, okay, so Mercury stations retrograde at the end of the month in your 9th house. And so once that happens, it's like you're going to have to review all those plans that you're making about yourself, about your beliefs. You could be also, because since it's in your 9th house, or since it rules your 9th house, it could indicate that you are really reviewing the beliefs that you have, whether it's religious, spiritual, or just certain ideologies that you have, right? And Capricorn is about those ingrained kind of fears and things like that, or those conditioned beliefs. So reviewing those things as well, that could be something that comes up during the retrograde, traumas and whatnot. And then the full moon happens at 16 degrees Gemini, and this is also in your 6th house on December 8th. So coming to a ending, you know, some type of blessing or release is happening when it comes to work, your daily routines, maybe even your health. You know, if you've been having health issues, it could be some understanding or some light being shed on it at this time. Also, it could have a lot to do with like your commitments to like a legal situation that could be coming in around this time if you're going to be receiving some type of information about it. A legal situation, maybe court, is going to be conjunct Mars. So it could be something that is, you know, bringing a sense of agitation that could be coming in. Maybe some type of communication is going on, something that needs to be released and let go of. It has a lot to do with your home and family. So even then it could be, you know, because Mars rules Aries, which is your 4th house. It also rules Scorpio in your 11th house. So it has a lot to do with your goals and your material gain. So maybe you want to like sell your home, right? But it's requiring, you know, some things to happen before that can actually go on. So that's also something, but you are coming to this ending phase of that where you're looking into it, you're planning it, the plans are there. Now you need to release that aspect. You're finishing up that cycle to embark on this new cycle that's coming with this new moon in Capricorn, right? So this new moon in Capricorn on the 23rd is in your 1st house. So in your 1st house, it's a new cycle, a new phase on how you are seen, how you are, you know, your first impressions, how you are when you show up in the world, how people meet you, your self-image, your body. It's just really embarking on a new phase and all of that. So you're rebranding yourself up until this point. Now it's like this new phase and this new cycle that's embarking. It also could indicate like a new relationship that comes in also, right? The moon rules your 7th house, the sun rules your 8th house. That's commitments, that's intimate relationships. Also, it could be reversals of how you have been seen. So there could be a sudden reversal that happens in your self-image as well, or a certain reversal in a relationship that happens. All right, so Aquarius, sun, moon, and rising. We have the full moon at 16 degrees in Gemini, December 8th in your 5th house. And so with this full moon happening in your 5th house, it has a lot to do with your children. It has a lot to do with your creative self-expression. So you could be releasing something, you know, that is creative. You could be launching a creative project, and it has a lot to do with your work, your daily habits, your routines, or something along those lines, because the moon rules your 6th house. It's going to be conjunct Mars. And Mars is the ruler of your 3rd and your 10th house. So Mars ruling those sectors of your chart could be small business. It could be about communication. It could be about your public image shifting and changing or being released and let go of. But also it's just like a ending of a cycle to embark on a new one. And then we have Venus entering into Capricorn. This happens December 10th in your 12th house. So 12th house represents like, you know, hidden enemies and things like that. So it could be obsessions from others that come in, but, you know, on a lighter note, Venus in Capricorn could be you working on a creative project behind the scenes that brings in longevity and long-term results and something. Maybe even releasing a certain asset or possession that you have. It could be a home. Maybe you're selling your home, or maybe you're purchasing a home. You're purchasing or you're moving to a foreign settlement, right? 12th house, Venus transiting there, but also, you know, it's in Capricorn. It's about long-term longevity. And Venus rules the 4th house in your chart, which is Taurus, but it also rules the 9th house, which is Libra, which is long-term journeys, long-distance travel. 4th house is home and family, it's real estate. So these are all possibilities. Now the sun enters into Capricorn, and this is the start of the winter solstice. And so with the sun being opposite your sign, you know, it rules Leo, which is your opposition. So it's the start of winter solstice, start of Capricorn season in your 12th house. So it might have you to where you feel that you want to be less out in the open. You might go into isolation. Your focus might be on your healing journey, might be on spirituality, and that's where your commitments lie. Also, it could be really focusing on subconscious patterns and a level of self-undoing that needs to happen in order to stay committed to those things that you find value in, that you want to, you know, receive long-term results from. Okay, so most of Capricorn season, you're going to be really focused on healing and being behind the scenes. Also focus on your sleep as well. So pay attention to your dreams during Capricorn season. And then you have a new moon at 1 degree Capricorn that happens December 23rd. And this is also in your 12th house. So it's embarking on a new journey, especially a spiritual journey, a new journey towards healing, your subconscious patterns, creativity, your creativity in the work that you do, right? Because the moon is the ruler of your 6th house, which is Cancer. So it could be the work that you do, the service that you provide to other people, your daily routine. So it's just a new cycle that's happening in regards to that area of your chart. All right. So last but not least, we have Pisces, Sun, Moon, and Rising. Neptune stations direct. Neptune is your chart ruler, Pisces, and it's in your sign. This happens December 4th until June 30th, and it's in your 1st house. So, you've been working on healing your body, healing yourself, and now you're going to be able to implement those things back into play. So maybe you put some things on the back burner. Now you're going to be able to reestablish and re-implement them again. Also working on healing, being more spiritual, being, who it is that you naturally are, Pisces, and just implementing that into your image and just you initiating this. And you're definitely going to be feeling that Neptune direct energy because it's your chart ruler. Okay, it's one of your chart rulers. Your other chart ruler is Jupiter. But then you have the full moon. The full moon at 16 degrees Gemini on December 8th in your 4th house. And so with the full moon happening, it's a culmination of your home and family life, your sense of stability, your safety, your security. It could also be about real estate, just kind of making plans for the home, making plans with the children in the home, because the moon rules Cancer, which is your 5th house. But it's also going to be conjunct Mars, and that is the ruler of your 2nd house and your 9th house. So with the conjunct Mars, it might have to do with, you spending money. I mean, that makes sense. It's holiday season. So spending money for your children in the home, or planning on a trip and having to put down a down payment. So something being let go, something being released. There's like a cycle coming to a fullness at this time. Now, Jupiter enters Aries. Jupiter is also your chart ruler. And so Jupiter enters on the 20th in your 2nd house. And so more opportunities for making money, ways to make money for yourself, your material possessions increasing and expanding, relationships, becoming much more benefic, I can say, much more passionate and confident in your connections and relationships. And also when it comes to work, so it could be that you're developing work relationships, or you have opportunities to develop that. Also, your social status could be shifting because of a relationship change, because Jupiter rules your 10th house as well as your 1st house. All right, so last but not least, Pisces, we have new moon that happens at 1 degree Capricorn on the 23rd in your 11th house. So this is a new cycle about obtaining your goals, making new friends, connecting with large groups and large organizations. The moon rules your 5th house. So your goals about your children, or about hobbies, or, about your sense of joy and fun, connecting on a creative way with other people. The sun rules your 6th house. So it could be about work or a service that you provide to other people, and you're launching this, right? So this is like a 6-month pan of that energy to come. All right. So that is all that I have for the month of December. Once again, thank you all for being here and being patient, and also, subscribing to my channel, being supporters. I appreciate you so much. Additionally, make sure that you are signing up to receive your astrology readings, because December will be the very last month that I issue out those readings and, do personal readings. So if you are looking to join the membership, you can go ahead, purchase a reading, and you automatically get 30 days free within the membership. Or if you just want to bypass all that and just join the membership, you can do that too. $33 per month. So yeah, there are some exciting things coming out in 2023. I'm excited for 2023. Lots of changes happening, and whatnot. So keep a lookout for the 2023 year ahead readings. They will be launching here. Also, I will be having them for sale on my website. So I will make that formal announcement very soon also. In the meantime, happy holidays. Have a wonderful month of December, and I will speak with you all